Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikaela if you did not know, and today I am building a mid-century modern house for you all, which was definitely a little bit different. I'm used to just building like single family homes, kind of that kind of style, so this was definitely a challenge. As you can see right here, I'm just working on the roof and I struggled a little bit. I mean, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted the shape to even look like, so I ended up just bulldozing it all because I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start over new. At least I wasn't too far into the build. And roofing was a little bit of a struggle point for me in this build, which you would think it wouldn't be because, I mean, ultimately there's only two roof pieces right here. Just one on the left side and one on the right side. And I wanted to have like a little carport area instead of having a garage. Again, as I do with pretty much all of my builds, I look up my resources. So I just Googled just mid-century modern homes. And that was just another way for me to know that I was doing it all right, which I hope the interior looks fine too. But I ended up really liking the build, and ultimately it did come out to be pretty easy. Again, like I did with the last home, I ended up building in the wrong direction. So when I went to save the lot to my gallery, you know when you save it and then it has like the pictures and that'll show you what it looks like? Yeah, it showed like the side of the house. So I don't know, I'm probably going to keep doing that. So I don't know, I'm just going to have to learn. And another thing with this house is I really enjoy these big, like giant windows. I think if I ever, I mean, assuming I do own a house one day or just live in a different house, then like by myself or with a partner or whatever, I really want to have those big giant windows. Except I built this in Newcrest, which is more of like a suburban neighborhood, I guess. So I would not want to have those big giant windows around a bunch of people. Ideally, I would want to live in like the woods. Kind of like if you have ever seen Twilight, like the Cullen house. I want like my house to be like that because I remember they had like the big giant windows. It was in the forest because obviously they had to hide. And actually, funny story about Twilight. When I was in middle school, I was completely obsessed. Like, it was like fangirling, but like to a whole nother level. I'm just not gonna get into that, but anyways, I lived near the filming locations of where the first movie was filmed at. So the first movie was filmed in some parts of Washington and also like the Portland area and a little bit of Oregon. So anyways, two of my cousins surprised me by taking me on like this week-long camping trip, and we got to visit a lot of the filming locations. So we got to visit the Cullen house, also Bella's house, and we also went to that cafe that Bella and her dad go to within the first movie. I think they go in other movies too, but it's probably not the same place because in the other movies they film in like Canada, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I just remember I started reading the book after they already filmed the first movie, and I was so mad because I was like 20 minutes away from one of the locations. But anyways, I'll just have another time that I get to see some type of filming, I guess. But anyways, right now I'm just working on the kitchen. The kitchen is always my go-to number one first thing that I start building in my builds. I don't know why. I think it's because so many people in my family just are obsessed with their kitchens and want like the perfect kitchen in their house. So now that's just kind of what I go for first. And I do really quite enjoy this kitchen, even though it's pretty small, but I like the open factor of it. And I also got my idea for this in some Google imaging. And I really like these lights. I saw that from an idea on Google, but then I wasn't able to make it work very well. And plus it was just super bright, and you'd probably just blind yourself if you're ever cooking in there. Which probably isn't good because you'd probably end up burning your food or, I don't know, maybe making a fire or something like that. So I end up just using those saucer lights, which I really like those too. And then I just use this wood wall piece on one piece of the wall, which I really like that. And I ended up decorating it a little bit. And then I have like the living room area just over here. So I took out some windows because I wanted to have the TV. Ideally, I wanted to have the TV and stuff in the middle, but then it wasn't really working. And I don't know, like symmetrically wise, I don't think that's a word, but we're gonna call it a word. I would have liked it to have it in the middle, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. And also another thing, when I'm building, I try to think of like, okay, how would this realistically look in someone's house? Like if I were living in this house, what would I do? So I don't know. If you ever have trouble with building, try to keep that in mind. Try to think of like the realistic factor of like, okay, if someone were to move in here, what would they actually do? And I use a lot of the furniture from Get Famous because a lot of it is mid-century modern. So I don't know. I really like all the furniture that comes in Get Famous, honestly. Like that little bookcase shelf next to the TV. I put that on there. And I imagine that this is where this family would put like their cookbooks and everything. And also about this family, I imagine that it was a gay male couple and their adopted teenage twins. Like they adopted them like when they were wee little children, but now they've grown up. And so I imagine that this couple probably has a pretty good taste in fashion and like interior design. I imagine that one of the guys is probably an interior designer himself. And then maybe the second partner, it probably is in a little bit of fashion, but doesn't work in like the fashion industry or something. Like I imagine that maybe he works in like a really nice department store, but doesn't have like a really, really nice job. And then they have their 2 teenage daughters, and biologically they only like belong. That's not the right word, but you know what I'm talking about. But like biologically, their dad is just one of the dads, but then they're both dads. Anyways, that was a really long time to explain that. So right now I'm just working on one of the teenage daughter's rooms. I imagine that she is like really into like pop music and maybe is into like the like boy band of the time. Like I remember when I was in middle school and high school a little bit, like my freshman year of high school, I was obsessed with Justin Bieber. Actually, Justin Bieber was my first ever concert that I ever went to. So, I mean, there's that. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like, ooh, Justin Bieber. Especially back in the days of like me being in middle school, like 2010-ish, that era. People were like, oh, he's so dumb, he's so lame. But you know what? I loved him. I loved his music. I loved going to his concert. I almost got kicked out of his concert, actually. Apparently, you weren't supposed to take pictures. And we were really, really far away. Like, my ticket was like $50. So, like, I could barely see as is. Plus, back in those times, cameras weren't really the best. I mean, I guess unless you got a really, really nice camera. But I did not have the money. Hence why I could only afford $50 of a ticket. But this lady, the security guard lady, she like came into my ear and like was yelling at me. It wasn't like really terrifying though, because she was just like whisper yelling at me. Like, girl, at least like tap on my shoulder or something. But anyway, she told me that if I took another picture, then I was gonna get kicked out. So I must live a very wild life. I almost got kicked out of a Justin Bieber concert. But anyways, ever since then, I've gone to a lot more concerts, and I've never been kicked out again. Well, I wasn't kicked out in the first place. But anyways, so right now I'm working on the second twin, her bedroom. And I imagine that she's like a skater chick. Like, I ended up putting some like skateboard, I don't even know if that's what they are, but like I did some decorations up on the wall, and so I imagine that she's a little bit more tomboyish and skater. Like, I imagine that she probably has like short hair and like all the different colors, and she's just not a fan of like being friends with females because she doesn't want to deal with the drama. And so I'm just putting some posters up here along with her sister. I think she also likes those boy bands, but she's kind of scared to like let anyone know. So yeah, like those boards that I put up there. And so I just put a bunch of posters up there, and I tried to mess around with the layout of the room, but then ended up not working because I think I was trying to fit a dresser in there, but I really wanted to have her desk with her computer up there, so she just doesn't get a dresser. And then I put some shelves up on top, and I just put a different assortment of clutter and whatnot, and just tried to make it a little bit more lived in. And then I put some makeup, hair stuff, and then in order for me to get the stuff, all the clutter stuff up on the shelves, I have to move the desk around, which is slightly annoying, but I get through it. And over here, I am just working on the bathroom. The bathroom, again, pretty standard. But I finally got to use this sink that we got from Get Famous. I haven't had the chance to use it in any of my builds yet because it just hasn't fit very well. And actually, the shower is the only shower in the house. There are 2 bathrooms in the house. And so the parents, they have their bedroom with a walk-in bathroom. And I wasn't able to fit both a nice bathtub and also a shower because I didn't want to do the combo in their bathroom. So I figured, you know what? I feel like these guys would just want to have the bathtub, and then they would probably just use a shower in the main bathroom. But anyways, so then over here I'm just working on the room a little bit. I wasn't quite sure what to do around the windows because I didn't really want to put stuff on, like, not on the windows, but like right next to it, but then I end up doing it anyway. And I'm just trying to make it look nice, so I kind of mess around a little bit. I imagine, again, that they do have really good taste in both fashion and also interior design, especially the parent that is an interior designer. So I imagine that he is probably the one that built this place. So, I mean, imaginary sim, I hope that I did a good job at making this to your taste. And I just work on putting some art on the wall. I imagine that they're also probably into art, and I've gone to some art showcases in a lot of museums. And so yeah, over here, that's where I put the bathtub, because I imagine that they would probably want to have a dreaded bathtub. I mean, personally, I would also want to have a dreaded bathtub, and I tried to fit the shower in there too, but then there's nowhere to put the toilet, so it's like, you kind of need a toilet in your bathroom. I don't know, I feel like it would be more weird to not have a toilet in one bathroom. I don't know, I guess that's kind of how Del Sol Valley is anyway. I mean, if you didn't know, or if you don't have the pack, there's like no toilets in any of the pinnacles, I think. I haven't really looked in those houses just yet. I'm kind of paranoid, or not paranoid, I guess more scared of trying to work around those, because I'm not good at building big houses or big mansions. But we will get there. I will build a mansion, and hopefully it'll be good. And so, with this lot, there wasn't really much room to have a backyard, so I just kind of put these hedges over there. I like how it's really plain and simple versus my like gigantic mess that I always put in my houses. And then I just put a couple trees around, and also some shrubs and whatnot. And for the purpose of I'm taking the screenshots, I did end up moving this lot, and that was also just because of the fact that I wasn't able to save it to my library and have it look like nice in the pictures. So when we come to the screenshots, it's gonna look a little different. And then I finally remembered to put curtains in this house. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in like every single one of my houses, I always end up forgetting about the curtains. And there's a couple of rooms where I didn't like put a curtain on the window, like in the skater girl room in her bedroom. I just put a curtain on the smaller window, the skinnier window, but in my head it would actually go across the whole way. So yeah, like right there. So it might kind of look empty, but in my head it's not. But anyways, so that concludes to the rest of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.